welcome to Light and Love, where we help you find the essence of you. Woo! Okay, we're back. Welcome back to Light and Love Season 2, Episode 6. I'm so excited to be here. Like always, it's really hot, so if you happen to see this on video, I'm probably sweating, just letting you know now. And so yeah, this is Episode 6. I'm really excited. I hope I don't get choked up. If you've been following the podcast, then you know last week I talked about my friend Zonio, and this episode is also going to be for sure dedicated to him because it is going to be dropped on his anniversary of when he passed away. So this episode, if you're listening to it on September 14th, this is his 1-year anniversary of not being here with us anymore. And again, it is National Suicide Awareness Month. Today, the day I'm recording, is actually National Suicide Awareness Prevention Day. Something like that. So I just want to really be vocal about it. I think I didn't mention this last time in the last episode, but I think there's so much taboo around suicide and talking about our feelings and getting help. So I do want to start the episode with there is nothing wrong with getting help. There's nothing wrong with being vocal about how you're feeling, and you're not alone. And even just talking about someone who committed suicide, I feel like is so taboo. You don't want to say oh, my friend did this. You want to keep it personal. But the more we keep things in and we don't talk about them, the more people don't feel comfortable talking about it if they're in a place where they need help for something like that, because it is not talked about amongst people enough. So I do want to be vocal about it. I don't want to shy away from the reason why he passed away. So unfortunately, last year, he did pass away. He committed suicide. He was 30 years old, and yeah, that's what happened. And it changed my life, my friend's life, I'm sure his family's life forever, but it's really opened me up to a lot, just learning a lot about life and how precious it is and how hard it is. Seriously, life is hard. It's not easy. I don't think it's meant to be easy. I don't think it's meant to always be good. But sometimes the lows are really low, and we don't, as a society, talk enough about what those low places feel like, because everybody feels them. And that's why I just want to be really open with this podcast and talk about, it's called Light and Love, but that's because you need light and love to pull you through those dark times where you don't feel good. So that's just a little background on Light and Love in general. So he passed away about a year into my own personal spiritual journey and self-discovery. So it really taught me a lot. It rocked my world, and it'll change me forever. So I just want to dedicate this episode to him and just be open with you guys about what happened and why it means so much and why I feel like it should be talked about way, way more, because we all go through really dark times, and we all have different coping mechanisms. Some of us don't have coping mechanisms. Some of us don't talk to people. And when you get in a place like that, it's really hard to get out. So I hope this podcast has given you some tools, some coping mechanisms, something to get you through your dark times, because they look different for all of us. So yeah, let's get on with the episode. So this episode is actually going to be about mental toughness. And mental toughness, what is mental toughness? And why do I think it's so important to understand and have? I think whenever we're doing something that's out of the norm, out of our comfort zone, the natural thing to do, our first instinct is to give up. Don't push through. It really is to give up. If we're doing something challenging, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, a lot of our first instincts is to give up. And that's because we have these comfort zones that we're not pushing past. So mental toughness really is, there's that part of you that does want to know what you can do if you push past. It knows you can push past it. It knows the potential you have. So that's what mental toughness is. Mental toughness is the segue to get you from not believing to believing and doing. So it's definitely digging really deep in yourself to find that place in you that knows you can and pushes you to go past your fears, past your comfort. That's what mental toughness is. And we actually got that term from Zonio. He would always say mental toughness, and it would he would always root us on for like beer pong or like the boys when they would be exercising together. Like it was just for really silly things, but that definitely was one of his life mottos. I know he used it in hard times too as well because he was in the army. So I know that's something he developed, I think from a young age. He was always like that, very headstrong, very brave, courageous. So he always would tell us mental toughness. Like if we're like trying to back out of something or not wanting to do something, like, no, I don't want to do it, or I can't do it, he'd be like, mental toughness. Or we're like, it's too cold to do this. So like, mental toughness. You can get through anything with mental toughness. So it kind of became a joke between us, and us girls would always get super annoyed when he would say it, like, oh my God, you can't get through everything with mental toughness. Like, that doesn't work. But honestly, it really does, because I think he was always trying to tell us, like, if you have mental toughness, if you can push yourself past what you think to be true, then you can do it. Like, just freaking do it is really what it is. Just do it. So have that mental toughness to push yourself to do what you don't want to do or what you think you can't do. So we only grow when we push past our perceived limits. And that's what I want this episode to really be about. Mental toughness was like a segue into that. But the only time we grow in life is when we push past what we think we can do. You can't grow if you stay where you're at, and you stay where you're at if you're not pushing through things. So life is always going to throw things at you. There's always going to be things that you're not familiar with, you're not comfortable with, and if you always back down to those opportunities, then you'll never grow. You guys, I take notes and it's so hard for me to freaking stay on track with them. I'm just being super honest because I have them right here, but I need to find a better way to write notes. We can only grow when we push past our perceived limits, also known as our glass ceilings, our limiting beliefs, our log jams, whatever you want to call it. Growth is on the other side of something you've never done before. And I know doing something you've never done before is really uncomfortable for a lot of people, and we like to be in our comfort zone. It's a natural state that most of us like to be in. We like to be comfortable. We don't like to be uncomfortable in any type of way, and that's like emotionally, mentally, physically. We don't like to be uncomfortable, but that is a part of growing. So just know, if you're facing something that feels uncomfortable, then it's a sign that you should do it, because you will grow from it. But about 1.5 years into my self-discovery, I finally started to understand what limiting beliefs were and how much they can take a toll on our growth. We learn a lot from our environment. A lot of our beliefs come from our environment, our parents, the part of society that we grew up in. So those are our beliefs. And a lot of us, for whatever reason, tend to not think so highly of ourselves. No one wants to be full of themselves, but I think a lot of us lack confidence, and that's because I don't think we're necessarily cheered on a lot in life. I know they say like kids are like coddled now, and like everyone gets a trophy, but honestly, there does need to be some type of encouragement at all times, just to show that like trying is good enough. Because if you think about it nowadays, a lot of people don't even want to try because they're scared to fail. The fear of failure stops people from even trying something. But the thing is, we need to congratulate and be proud of ourselves for trying. We don't always have to accomplish what we're trying to do, but the simple fact of the matter is trying is enough. It's better than not doing anything. So I definitely think a lot of us just lack confidence because we weren't encouraged to try things and fail and be congratulated for it and told that it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, this really does stem from childhood. And I'm not saying my parents didn't cheer me on for things. I don't even remember, honestly. But I just know that winning is always an accomplishment and always cheered on. And that's not necessarily how life works. You have to try things in order to grow, in order to know. And if you don't try, then you're not going to go anywhere. So we definitely need to cheer ourselves on. This is where, self-growth comes from, is learning how to cheer yourself on. So about a year and a half into my journey, I had to learn that I was my own cheerleader. I was going to be the only person to cheer myself on, and that was the only person that I needed to cheer me on. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you're waiting for other people to cheer you on throughout your journey, you are going to be rudely awakened by how many people do not do that. If you have an amazing support system, it's amazing. It really is. But not everyone has that, and not everyone is comfortable or confident in themselves enough to cheer a friend on, a family member, for doing something different. Again, psychology, that's just how we are. So you really have to learn how to be your own cheerleader, because sometimes the cheer squad, the support squad, they don't come through every single time, and that's okay. That doesn't make other people bad, but I want to tell you that you have to be your own cheerleader, because you're going to be the only one there with yourself the whole time on your journey of life, whatever journey you're on, you're going to be the only one there. So you really have to learn how to be your own cheerleader. It's the only way you're going to get through. And also, a huge thing about limiting beliefs, I really had to tackle those. I still deal with them. We all deal with them. It's just a part of life. But understanding what they are and where they come from. Limiting beliefs normally come from a fear. And a big fear everyone has is the fear of failure. It's just in us. We're scared to fail because no one congratulates failure. But now, if you see all this stuff on Instagram and everything, people are like, if you're not failing, then you're not succeeding, because it takes a lot of failures to get to success. Not everything is going to be a success, but failing means you're on the right track. So don't be scared to fail, you guys. I'm all about knowledge, and for me, going down a path that my family didn't go down, wanting to be my own brand, my own business, just do something out of the norm of what I felt my family wanted. They never pushed anything on me, but just society and in general, I thought I was supposed to do something else. But just going down a different path, really, it's really hard because there's no example. There's no one kind of to turn to ask, like, how do I do this? Or how do I do that? Because no one's ever done it. No one that I know personally has ever done it. So I have to look for other ways to figure it out. And it can be kind of discouraging at times, I'm not going to lie. But that's why I had to learn to be my own cheerleader, and also like give myself affirmations that like what I'm doing is okay. Like I can do it. I'm strong enough. Anything I put my mind to, I can do, because mental toughness, guys, like I have to get myself to get there to do it, because it is really hard if you don't have an example or someone to turn to, and you have to figure everything out yourself. Like you can find mentors, no doubt. It costs money. I hope you guys can get some value from me, from the podcast, but if it's scary, it doesn't make sense. But if you keep going, you realize all you had to do is push past what you know and what you think you know. That's a huge thing. We think we know a lot of things. You don't know anything. You're here to learn everything. That's the mentality you have to learn, and that's something Jalen wrote on our board when we worked together, was like, I don't know anything. I'm here to learn everything. Because if you're in a place of thinking you know everything, and that everything you were taught, everything you believe is true, is the one, then you're not going to learn. You're not going to push past limits that you have, because you think you know everything. You think you know how the world works. You think you know how everything works, and That's growth doesn't come from a place of knowing everything. Another huge fear that we all deal with is fear of the unknown. That holds us back a lot. But on the other side of fear is freedom. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, everyone lives with fear. We all have fear. It's natural, it's normal, but there are those who push past fear. And that's why there are those who tell us that when you push past fear, on the other side is freedom. Because fear is just a feeling, a thought. It's not real until you actually push past it and you realize how it was just a poof in the way. Like it was just a thought holding you back the whole time. And that thought, that feeling is fear. But the other side is greatness, I promise. And you'll be so proud of yourself. It's not easy to get there. It's really not. You have to build yourself up. You have to build up the courage to do it. But mental toughness is the segue. And knowing that you can push past your boundaries and that the only result from that is going to be growth should be a huge nudge for you. So really figure out what your fears are and your limiting beliefs. Like for me, I'm like, I can't do this. Like, how could someone like me do this when no one I know does it? I have a lot of limiting beliefs. I still have them. I'm still working past them, but they all stem from a place of fear. And then you have to find out really what you're so scared of. And then you realize like what you're so scared of is you don't even know if it's going to happen. So what is going to be the worst thing that's going to happen if you just keep pushing through? So I want to close this out by saying that mental toughness may sound like machismo or like masculine or insinuating that we should ignore our feelings. And that is never, ever something I would promote. I think it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable, to be vocal about our feelings, to be comfortable in our feelings. And you should never, ever ignore your feelings. They're your guidance system, and you should never push them aside because they make you feel inferior in some type of way. We all have the same range of emotions. We all have the same fears. We all think alike. We are all one, we're all just like each other. So if you think you're alone, please don't ever feel alone in how you feel, because I guarantee you there is not just one person, but thousands, millions of people that feel the same way you do. So just never feel alone. And I wish I could tell Zonio that mental toughness can only get you so far during a rough time. And it isn't the answer to everything in life. Sometimes you can't just push through mentally. You just can't. And you just can't. Mental toughness, what I want mental toughness to be moving forward is pushing past your fears, pushing past your boundaries, pushing past your limiting beliefs, but never about pushing past your emotions, because your emotions are guiding you. So definitely always listen to your emotions and never feel bad about it. And I want to encourage anybody dealing with something they feel they cannot battle alone to reach out to someone, whether it's a friend, family, or a professional. Never feel ashamed to do that. We all need that at some point in our life, multiple points in our life. We all need it. So let's definitely open up the conversation for it. Let's talk to our friends more, find out how they're doing, pay attention to the little things, the little signs, and reach out, whether it's something or it is something or it's not. Just always reach out, stay connected, and stay open, And I want to thank you guys for listening to this episode and listening to this podcast. I really hope it helps you guys in some type of way. That is my ultimate goal with the podcast. That's my purpose. And that's our time. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Thanks for listening. See you guys next week for another episode of Light and Love.